KRISTEN LINFANTE, Executive Director, Chamber Music, Pittsburgh.
That's right.
Am I correct in this? Welcome to BURGH VIVANT. It's nice to be having a little drink with you here.
Thank you.
And could we have asked for a better setting? This is truly one of the most gorgeous interiors in all of Pittsburgh.
It's true. It's pretty spectacular.
This is the Carnegie Music Hall, where Chamber Music Pittsburgh has the good fortune of performing.
That's right.
So tell me a little bit about you. You yourself are a musician, yes?
I am. I'm a viola player. I have been playing professionally for many, many years. I studied at Juilliard. I worked my way through Juilliard, however, in arts management.
Wow, so you know the arts end and the business end.
Exactly.
That's important, though.
Yeah, at the time, I never knew that it would serve me so well. I thought it was just a way to pay the bills. But as a result of that experience during those years, I have had many opportunities to work not only on stage but off stage, which is very interesting, and it's a different kind of creative outlet.
Is there an attitude that goes along with it, like, oh, you're such a viola player, you're such a violist, as opposed to like a violinist?
Absolutely.
Are there personalities that go kind of along with it?
Absolutely, yeah. I think for all instruments, violinists tend to be very competitive, tend to want to be in the limelight. Of course, the violins tend to always play the melody, be the featured instrument, sort of like the trumpet.
So it's kind of tied to their job in an orchestra or a music group, I think.
It is, for sure. Viola players tend to be pretty mellow, non-competitive. And ironically, the viola in an ensemble is the middle voice. It's sort of the glue that holds everything together. And viola players in their personalities tend to be that way. They're sort of the peacemakers, the ones who gather everyone together and have a good time.
I wonder if we could match people up based on the instruments they play, kind of like you do with astrological signs, you know? Like if you're an Aries, you're fidgety and you should never be with a Sagittarius or whatever, you know? If you're a viola player, don't ever, date a tuba, things like that, I don't know.
Well, it's interesting that you say that because I am married to a tuba player.
I had no idea. I'd have all the instruments for me to just pick out randomly.
It's true. I am married to a tuba player, and tuba, viola marriages and relationships are very common.
Wow, there is something to this. I gotta write a book.
There really is, yeah. Playing chamber music is such a love of mine and every musician. It's really a really intimate experience, I think, more than playing in an orchestra, a big orchestra. That's a fabulous experience as well, but it's different. Chamber music comes from back in the day when kings and queens had their court, and they would have chamber music performed in the chambers of their homes, usually castles. So that's where the concept of chamber music comes from.
What sets chamber music apart today from, say, any other smallish group of musicians? Well,
chamber music can be anywhere from 2 musicians on stage collaborating together to a small orchestra of maybe 20 players on stage. Typically what would set it apart is that it's conductorless, where the group of musicians, whether it's 2 or 20, are essentially communicating with each other on a level that's so intimate that you don't need to be having a conductor up there leading you. It's a type of relationship that develops not only with the players but also with the people listening. Typically speaking, in chamber music, listeners can be much closer to the musicians. Say you've got a string quartet on stage in Carnegie Music Hall, they're going to be right at the edge of the stage. They're going to be very close to the people who, especially the people who really want to be close and are in the first few rows. They actually feel like they're part of what's being made up there, which is a lot different, I think, than sitting and watching a performance of a very large orchestra, where you really feel like you're on the outside looking in on something incredible, but you're not necessarily a part of it. When this organization was started 53 years ago,
wow,
it was a group of people in a grassroots effort to bring chamber music to the masses, because they recognized the value in it and the value in that connection. It really connects a community. It's very powerful. It's not just about Bach, Beethoven, Mozart, Brahms. The gamut is so wide. We this past season had pieces that were written in the past few years. We've actually commissioned composers to write pieces for the series. I really believe that it's Chamber Music Pittsburgh's responsibility to not only expose our audiences to the great chamber music that we all know and love, but also to expose them to things that they may have never known existed, because they would never have the opportunity to realize how much they really might like it. Well, recently we changed our name, actually. We were the Pittsburgh Chamber Music Society. And the reason we decided to change it was because we wanted a name that was more inclusive. The word society
it implies that you maybe have to at least learn a secret handshake.
Exactly,
you know?
Exactly. We didn't want to give anyone the impression that perhaps they didn't belong.
Oh.
The season starts on September 29th. All of our concerts are here at Carnegie Music Hall. They all start at 7:30. We do a lobby recital right here in this space prior to every concert, and it features young musicians of Pittsburgh. That happens at 7 o'clock. They last about 20 minutes, just a little taste, and then we go into the big hall for the concerts. September 29th will feature the Takash Quartet. They're based at the University of Colorado. They're a fabulous group. They've been to Pittsburgh many times and are known and loved in Pittsburgh. After that, we've got the Pacifica Quartet coming with a local artist, David Harding, who's a viola player, actually an old classmate of mine from Juilliard.
There you go.
He teaches at Carnegie Mellon. He will be performing with them in some viola quintets. We've got the Jerusalem Quartet coming, also a big favorite in Pittsburgh. In March, we'll have Zool Bailey, who's a cellist, coming with pianist Awodagen Pratt, also a former Juilliard student and a former Pittsburgher. He was born in Pittsburgh. And we'll finish off the season with the Brentano String Quartet, also old classmates of mine, with clarinetist Todd Palmer. Speaking as a musician and on behalf of musicians, I think it's safe to say that there's nothing more fun and cool for a musician than to get together with a bunch of friends and read chamber music in a casual, relaxed setting, maybe with a martini at the side of your chair. It's a great time, and I think it's a great time for the people milling around listening as well.
Now, would chamber musicians refer to that as a jam session? I'm going to introduce you to Chad. He's a tuba player. There could be a whole website for musical dating.
It's true. We'll be having our debut at the Proms, actually, next fall.
At the Proms?
Yep. The one in England.
I'm thinking,
not the Prom.
You guys play every gig.
I came to discover that balancing on one foot while performing is not that easy. Maybe if I did yoga, I would have a little bit better core balance. I was holding the instrument, of course, on my shoulder, and I must have moved in a certain way, and something came undone. And as I was playing, suddenly I had to completely go on automatic pilot with the playing as I tried to wiggle.
And they're probably thinking, wow, this violist is really grooving to the beat here. Yeah, she's
really
feeling the music.
Jam session. And lo and behold, of course, the entire top of my dress falls to my waist. And suddenly the audience is leaning in a little bit more, watching the performance.
Oh my God.
And I kept thinking, okay, I've got to finish the piece. Half of my dress has fallen off, but I'm going to do this.
Well, you had something on underneath, right?
Well, yeah.
Okay.
I hadn't,
all right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Of course, as soon as we finished the piece, I was trying to strategically hold my instrument in front of me while I took my bows, trying to get the dress back on.
It turned into like a Victor Borga,
It was a little
comedy
bit of
routine.
a little box striptease. It was probably a first, I would guess.